Well, so this is the site of the proposed link between Burlington and Winooski, and it's at the site of the Blue Bridge, what's known as the Blue Bridge, which is the existing train bridge here. And we just found out, I had not known why it was named the Blue Bridge, and that's because it was once painted blue. And this is a corridor that has been in the planning stages to build a bike and walking connection from Burlington out to Essex Junction. And this would be a key link that's missing in that connection. Why don't you all come on up? Greetings. And so one of the proposed linkages, or one of the proposed alignments, would be to have a path coming down off Intervale Road and curling around what's the old coal weighing station, what looks like a little train station, following the berm of the hill here, and then about 120, 140 feet off this trestle, which people are illegally crossing as we speak, we would put a suspension bridge or some sort of prefabricated bridge across to the other side in Winooski, and in a couple minutes we'll be walking over there. Do people have questions about this alignment before I ask Paul Craven to talk about another potential alignment?
Why this alignment?
Well, we looked at a couple of spots up and down the river here. If you go on the other side of this train bridge, the bank there's quite a steep drop-off. It's probably 80 to 100 feet high, very close to the shore, and the bank is unstable. So that wasn't really a possibility. As you go further down here, you go into the floodplain of the Winooski River. And the river is at its narrowest right here. I think if you look at the overhead maps, which I have back over there, you're looking at a span here of about 250 feet. You're looking at over 300 in most other places.
Flooding ever a problem here?
Well, on this side it's not a problem. You're above what they call the 100-year flood line, flood level. But on the other side, that does become an issue, and we'll see that it looks more like a floodplain over on the Winooski side. We're hoping that we can put the abutment for the Winooski side protected behind the abutment for the train trestle, so that we're not dealing with a bridge that's out in the middle of a raging river.
How much is this bridge used by train traffic?
There's deliveries. The biggest traffic are deliveries to the McNeil generating station of wood chips that come down from Swanton, and their deliveries are usually 3 to 4 times a week. The trains don't go any faster than 5 miles an hour now, but as Paul Craven can talk about, if commuter rail comes through on the Burlington to Essex route, trains will now be going 40 to 45 miles an hour, and for the pedestrian that's looking for the shortest route between the two cities will find it extremely hazardous to attempt to cross the existing bridge. Paul, do you want to talk a little bit about the cantilevering approach?
You're talking about height regarding how you get
Yeah, in other words,
how
high do we go where a child would be terrified to go across a bridge because it's so high?
Well, have you ever walked over that?
Yeah, lots of times when I was a kid.
Terrifies me.
I also work for Green Mountain Power. I'm a lineman. I climb poles, so height's not a big issue with me.
The problem there is that you've got slits in the floorboards.
I understand that, but still.
No, you still have an issue, though.
You still have someone getting close to the edge and being, I don't know. I'm just
feet in the air.
throwing it out.
People's feeling about being uneasy depends on the surface and on the rail. If the rail is high and the surface is a full solid surface and not just walking on little, on a mesh.
Let's hope that's the way it is.
Well,
I'm just curious.
The feels solid.
Yeah, the difficulty of this is to get access. If you're going to cantilever a bridge off the side, this particular bridge has a rating of R40, Cooper R40. Usually, these days on a passenger train, it's R80. So that they need to make some structural improvements anyway to this bridge so they could move a passenger train over it at higher speeds. That's really what it comes down to. The dilemma you've got is how do you get up there? One of the initial proposed ideas was to come down the embankment. Have anyone ever walked the embankment from Winooski?
Yeah.
It's a very narrow face, probably 25 feet. And the immediate difficulty you face is you have to have a separation between the tracks and any proposed walkway. And that separation primarily is clearance issues, because you don't want a train going back and forth at speeds of 40 miles an hour with the potential of hitting someone. So you're probably looking at 15, 20 feet minimally to have a separation distance and to have a chain link fence. And once you do that, you're wider than the existing embankment. So you have to start looking at, on either one side of the embankment or the other, actually putting a retaining wall that'll have to run probably about 450 feet. It gets costly. What I'm talking about now is you start to add building costs.
Yeah,
and then you've got the whole issue.
Other possibilities, though. I wouldn't mind carrying my bike up a flight of stairs, though, to get...
The issue once you get into handicapped accessibility. I mean, these are all preliminary. No, but the issue is that the federal funding might not be able to use for the project because you can't have it accessible by a handicapped.
Right, the idea is not to get off your bike, is to make it fluent so you can go on your bike.
Well, but the issue is going to be is how do you access it? The embankment issue, because of its limited profile, just the amount of footprint that's up there, makes it difficult because you can't put a bike path and you can't put the existing track. You can't change the alignment on the ongoing train. So in order to build out the embankment, you'd have to put a retaining wall, as I said. Otherwise, you'd have to find some way to gradually come up to the bridge. And then cantilever across, come to the other side. Now, those are just the physical issues, the technical issues, and from an engineering perspective, anything can be done, just costs money. From an operating perspective, there's always been a traditional difficulty with operating freight railroads allowing bike paths within their corridors, within their right-of-way. And that's the same issue that's here. Their concerns are going to be, they're not going to want to really have any long-term responsibility. There was a project I researched down at Fort Sumter National Park, and they have a bridge similar to this. What they did was they put a lease agreement together that puts all the responsibility onto the local municipality which initiated the bridge. And there's all kinds of liability issues that get addressed and things, so the railroad remains protected and safe. And because what they don't want, obviously, is for people to get off the bike path and get onto the trestle. So, I mean, there's some technical issues with that are difficult. And so those things will all have to be surmounted in order to have it done.
Do you want to introduce yourself and say why you're here?
I'm David Jacobowitz, and I'm here to demonstrate the feasibility of a temporary crossing of the Winooski. Quo erat demonstrandum.
One of the things, while we ask some more questions, we might want to go down and start taking boats across, and because it's probably going to take us 2 or 3 loads to get across and take a look at the Winooski side. So why don't we head down there and we can continue this down there. So, what do you think about this connection between Burlington and Winooski?
Well, I'm very excited about it. I must say I've only heard about it recently, but I think it would be a real vital link. I used to live on North Prospect Street, where it would have been terrifically helpful to be able to get over to Winooski this easily. And even working at Fletcher Island, it's just a quick drive down, or bike ride, or walk down North Prospect and down the hill and across here. And I think it would really open up what Winooski has to offer, the second city here, to the people in Burlington.
Yeah.
I think it would also be very useful for a commuter route for folks who live in Winooski and feel uncomfortable about having to cross at the Riverside Avenue, Colchester Avenue Bridge, which is very busy, and Riverside itself is a pretty hazardous route, a very hazardous route.
What do you think about the Greenway here in the connection with the Intervale? Do you see some opportunities there for enabling Winooski folks to come over and enjoy the Intervale?
Definitely. This is a real resource now. The whole Intervale bike path system, can hook in, I think, even with the Burlington bike path system. That's a link which hasn't been there, and I think it would really open up real recreation opportunities for both sides.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Why
don't you say who you are and what you're doing here?
I'm David Jacobowitz. I live in South Burlington, but I used to live in Winooski, and my 2 kids are actually born here.
Great.
And I like to be able to get across down here away from the traffic. In fact, today's a good example. There was a huge traffic jam on Riverside Avenue, and I was on my bicycle so I could go alongside it, but I think people resent that, and you're always open to danger of somebody opening a door or cutting across.
So what you're saying is there are all sorts of different types of cyclists, and many families and recreational cyclists don't want to be on Riverside Avenue, and this may give them a more direct link between Chittenden County's biggest cities.
When we were living in Winooski, we'd like to come down and explore along the river, and we would walk the railroad tracks, but it didn't feel that safe because the railroad tracks, it's hard to walk on, and of course the train might come.
Yeah.
So if we had a separated path and it was smooth, even if it were stone or something, I think that a lot of families would come down and use it.
Great. And so, in terms of this path and here and the opportunities that it may provide, how do you see using it in the future?
I would use it to commute. I work up at UHC right up the hill, and to go to Winooski to the bike shop or to do some shopping. And as a matter of fact, we've actually thought about moving back to Winooski, and this would be a big incentive for us to do it. My wife works at Trinity, and I work at UHC, and so this would be a very easy and pretty commute, I think.
And so for you, a very important piece about where you live is having a place where you can commute that's not too far away and provides walking and biking opportunities.
Exactly.
Great. Well, we hope you move back to the area.
Oh, as soon as the prices go down, I'm
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
You notice that even an old feeble guy like Dom can manipulate this with just two bare hands.
Yeah, huh?
The current is never such that it's hard to do. I think we just bring fishes.
So right now, Dominic Casavan is operating a barge across the Winooski River between Burlington and Colchester.
But you have to realize, you shouldn't do this yourself. He's a trained physicist.
Oh, he is. Okay. Thanks for the important perspective.
Scientific experiment. I work in right back.
So you're saying there's a number of ways, whether we put a cantilever or bridge off the Blue Bridge, or whether it's a separate structure, or even looking at a temporary solution of a little ferry like this could work.
That's correct. That's my whole idea. Okay, but
there's people walking illegally again on the bridge. It seems like we've seen about, well, 5, 6 folks just since we've been here.
and the idea is that this is a mud problem over here, but it's easily solved because if you get some of those pallets and you just lay the pallets down, you can bring them right down to the shuttle itself, and I don't think there'd be a problem.
Zebby, what do you think about this?
Do you like it?
Would you ride it? Yeah?
You like to bike? You like to ride your bike? Yeah. Would this be a neat way to get across the river, do you think, on your bicycle?
Yeah. The only part of the river
Better. They're filming this so you can be on cable TV.
Really?
Yeah?
Really?
Is there something you'd like to say? Yeah?
If you're channel switching and your names are Ian, Evan, or Jackson, or Jack, or Matthew, and some other people, please don't tease me.
Well, Zebby, we're looking for your help in helping volunteer for this ferry here. Do you think you'd like to help out?
If I get a tip.
Fair enough. We'll see what we can do. This is a tough crowd. This right over here, Era, do you want to talk about the trails that this bridge could connect into?
Sure. Yeah, there's for about 10 years there's been an effort by the Winooski Valley Parks District, the city, and a group from the Ward 1 neighborhood to complete a nature trail along the Winooski River. It starts at the Salmon Hole Park right next to the bridge, and the car bridge. And it currently dead ends right over here where there's been some unstable ground, and we hope to connect it right with the parking lots over Garden Supply. And this bridge we see is just a wonderful potential to hook up with a greater network. We've been working on that